We are now talking to West Virginia tight end recruit Treylan Davis. Treylan, how are you and family doing with this whole COVID-19, this past year, high school? I mean, this must have been so frustrating for you and your family. What did you think about this year, and what could you say about the good things and the bad things for this year?
It's definitely been different. We're trying to live as normal as possible right now. Wearing a mask in and out of places and being out and about, or whether that's having a small get-togethers and that sort of thing. And I mean, it's still been enjoyable. I got to have a sports season this year, even though it was, half of the length of it would normally be. And I'm thankful for the things that have came out of it, that we've learned from this, and the bads will eventually be turned into goods. I have a feeling.
So what were some of the highlights of those high school season that you had this year? What were some of those best experiences that you've had, either within the game or even just in this different kind of season?
It's hard, when you look up in the stands. It's hard. Sometimes it gets hard to stay motivated and playing and stuff. You don't have the crowd buzzing in your head like you normally would, but then it just comes down to you, your coaching staff, your team around you, and keep being motivated within yourselves. And I think it taught us, what that was huge to me, is what it taught us, that we had to motivate ourselves throughout the season. And it was honestly, it was a lot of fun that way. It really was. We learned a lot from each other this year.
Well, Treylan, I don't know how you can say you didn't want to see angry, drunk fans screaming and wanting to bust people's heads that their team isn't winning, or they're not playing more than 4 games in a regular season, or have to look at somebody like this screaming. Could you imagine 7 or 8 people that look like this guy? I mean, I'd be scared. So maybe you're probably better off not having fans like that. But all in all, I know it must have really pissed off you and some of the players on your team to really experience your senior year. This is your senior year, right?
Yep.
Your senior year, and not really have any fans that come and watch you. And I would be disturbed and very upset about that. That's for one thing. But also the fact that your families couldn't get the chance to see you in your final season in high school. So I could see why you would be upset. So let me ask you this question. When you look at the player that you are as a tight end, and we talk about the tight end position really being a big, strong wide receiver. That's what they are now. There is no more big, bulky guy that's going to stand in the way and all he can do is block and maybe once in a blue moon catch the ball. It all changed with Jason Witten. That's what it really all changed with. The different style of wide receiver / tight end, and then Gronkowski, and then Aaron Hernandez. I don't know why I mentioned him, but I mentioned him. So all these different tight ends that have become like that prototypical big wide receiver. When you look at the type of player that you are and the growth of the player you've become over the last couple of years, watching all these tight ends like Kittle and Kelsey play, what type of player do you look at yourself to be?
I've tried to be as versatile as possible. I want to be well-rounded and good at several different things in what I do. I love to block, but I also love to catch passes. So, and the way I grew in my frame and things, tight end really just fit my mold in the way I like to play football. And I've loved watching George Kittle, Travis Kelsey, all those guys. Their game is almost complete. George Kittle especially is very well-rounded. He'll put his face in people and block, finish blocks, and he'll score in the red zone when you give him the ball. And, I aspire to be that way. And that's the way I could try to model my game.
So have you had those kinds of experiences? Obviously, different levels of football, it might not have the same kind of movement around with the versatility, but we've seen Kittle, like you were saying, with Kyle Shanahan, get moved in the backfield a lot of the time or split out wide, because outside of Brandon Ayuk, they really don't have any wide receivers. So have you been involved in that kind of different formations, different sets at any level of football? And if so, what was it like?
I enjoyed it a lot. I've played fullback. I've been in the backfield as a fullback. I've played H-back. Lead blocking, going out for passes. I've also been split out wide, caught deep balls, that sort of thing. So, it's a lot of fun that way. It's not the same every play. There's never 2 plays back to back that are, repetitive and that sort of thing. So you're always doing something different, and I really enjoy that. It's a lot of fun that way.
As you guys know, we are talking to West Virginia tight end recruit Treylan Davis. Treylan, obviously being recruited by West Virginia, a very well-known football school. We all know, quote-unquote, Geno Smith, if you've all forgotten him, who played for the New York Jets and really screwed up. He's still in the NFL over there with Seattle. We all know where he's probably the highest-paid backup quarterback in the NFL.
No, Taysom Hill is.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's the second highest backup quarterback in the NFL.
And second highest.
Well, there you go. Anyways, when you look at West Virginia, what was it like being recruited by West Virginia? And also, what was it like being recruited when at this time with the whole COVID-19 and really having your conference calls on Zoom, not getting the opportunity to go and visit the school and talk to the coaches and getting the chance to maybe be prepped with the beautiful cheerleaders dancing in front of you. So what was it like, my friend?
It was definitely not what you expect out of this whole process at all. Having FaceTimes all the time and doing your stuff, the importance of things through Zoom meetings and, like signing day, even not having a coach here, doing it over the phone and that sort of thing. And it was different. It was easy to connect to these guys though. And they did a great job with all of it, staying in touch, keeping me updated, showing me as many things as I can through FaceTime calls or, pictures, sending me text messages, that sort of thing. And, we followed up with each other a lot and they stayed in touch the whole time. And I just fell in love with what they've got going on and what they're building there.
Was there anything specific with your head coach, Neil Brown, who I think is entering his third year now? I believe he's relatively new. They had to keep switching coaches after Rich Rodriguez left. And is there anything specific with him that really swayed you to pick West Virginia over other schools you were recruited by? I saw Cincinnati was one that recruited you, and they were undefeated this year, so they're definitely been a big program. I think there was one in the Pac-12 as well. I forget who it was, but why West Virginia and why Neil Brown?
I picked Neil Brown in West Virginia because it's a very family-oriented place. He does a great job. Like even on signing day, he congratulated me and my entire family for our big day. He's always including family. He's always pushing that behind what he does. And he includes all his guys and looks at them more like friends and family than he would, looking down on them and talking about them as just football players. And that really held a big influence to my decision. And, that I hold myself accountable for that too. I mean, I try to include my family in as much as I can. And the people down there also represent like blue collar, hardworking folks, coal mining backgrounds, that sort of thing. And that's how I was raised and that's what I was brought up around. So it was a great fit for me.
We are talking to West Virginia tight end recruit, Treylan Davis. Now, Treylan, I think the fans want to know, what type of person are you? I mean, your personality. I'm very punctual, and this guy's very boring. I mean, look at him. I mean, you look at him, you just look like a hairy monster, creature who wears tiny whiteys.
I do not.
He's a big SpongeBob fan. By the way, he's an enjoyable SpongeBob fan. I do take a peek sometimes when he's working and editing our shows on what he does in his spare time. He watches it on his phones. He kind of covers himself, but he's a very interesting guy. So what kind of personality that, when you bring out to the people that want to get to know you in West Virginia, are you a fun personality or a comedy clown personality when you're in the locker room? Are you a captain? Are you a leader? What type of person are you? What is West Virginia getting as a leader, as a personality over there as a tight end?
Well, my goal is always to step up and be the hardest worker in any environment I'm in. I try to be a leader. And I was a unanimous captain on my high school team this last season. And, that's what I try to be. I try to be the person anyone and everyone can come to and talk to about anything. But I also try to keep my problems underneath of everything and just try to lead everyone in the right direction. So that's kind of what I want to try to bring to that place.
So I want to go back to your high school. You play in Ohio. You're from Ohio. You played high school football in Ohio. It's always thought of as a Southern thing, big high school football, but Ohio is huge for it too. A lot of national coverage, a lot of bigger coverage than most states have. What were some of those experiences like, both again on and off the field, that you saw, and maybe some experiences you have even not even playing, maybe just embracing that kind of crowd, that kind of tailgating stuff like that?
Right, absolutely. Ohio cares about football too, and that's a big thing I want to make known. Even as Southern Ohio, Northern Ohio, everyone here, I mean, we love it. And there's not too many places you go anymore where all week long fans, people around town are talking about what's going to happen Friday night, who's going to win, what are we going to do, plans to come to the games. So you walk out there and an hour and a half before the game even starts, right after the gates open, you've got people up there reserving seats in the crowd, people care. And then you walk out there for kickoff and the whole place is sold out and there's not another ticket left. So you've got people standing outside the fences and whatnot watching the games. And it's a great feeling. There's a ton of support in Ohio. And regardless of what school you play for around here, other schools around you root for you. If you're doing well, or if your team's doing well, a lot of us, if one of the Southern Ohio teams make a state run, I mean, all the coaches get together and talk. Good luck, do well. I hope you guys do well. And it's really a great football culture around here.
All right, Treylan. So I'm going to guess that there's only two teams you'd be rooting for in the NFL: the Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals. Am I right with one of them?
No, sir.
Who you root for?
I like the Steelers and the Texans. I'm kind of half and half on them.
You know, it's so
Steelers
interesting.
fan in Ohio. That's got to be interesting.